Going live, going live. Okay. This hangout on air is live. Thank you for joining us for OreAni summer season lineup. I forgot the date there, but it's 2016. Yay!
July
So,
24th.
yeah, today's July 24th. I'd like to introduce you guys to some new people. We got Adam.
Hey,
Hello, Adam. Thank you for joining us.
no problem.
We got EKZ. He says hi to everyone. Jessica
Hi.
and Sean.
Hey,
And of course, you all know me, Tenkun. So, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today. And this is like, I think, almost our fourth year of doing this, so kind of
wow.
surprised. We've been here this long doing this. It's kind of fun. All the new faces we have. Okay, let's go ahead and go to our first title, which is Mob Psycho 100.
Actually, just give me 60 seconds. I just remembered something. I'm going to post this live feed on Google Plus. Otherwise,
Okay.
what's the point of doing it live?
Dun, 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 dun. While we wait, thank you, Owen Evan, for this awesome picture from last.
Oh wow, he actually showed up this time.
Hello, EKZ.
What's up?
Hey,
Oh, EKZ's here now? Hey. Love your art, by the way, EKZ.
Hmm.
okay, so what's going on now?
I don't know,
That's
we're
okay.
waiting for you. You said
Okay. Mob Psycho 100. This this may be the best anime for the entire year, Mob Psycho 100. I think it's a really strong contender. It's I'm generally attracted to there's a lot of noise coming through your mic there, EKZ.
Hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, Mob Psycho 100, it could be the best anime for the whole year. So I'm usually attracted to things that have like just like a high degree of animation craft, you know? But just because of the way the anime industry works, that it's freelancer driven, is that usually there's this huge mismatch between like what kind of show gets really good animation, so it ends up being a show that is kind of stupid, but it just has really good animation for no reason, and like Yozakura Quartet was one of those, you know, where you're like, well, at least it looks really good sometimes, you know, but the story itself isn't anything to write home about. But Mob Psycho 100 is one of those like exceedingly rare productions where the story is good and the animation is good, but it goes beyond that. It's that like the story only works because the animation is so good. Like because it has like the characterization works because the animation is there, and the animation makes sense. It doesn't feel intrusive because the world is designed so that the show can express through like very chaotic animation. And it's chaotic in the sense that like there are a whole lot of styles happening all at once. The show like takes like a broad range of just like animation styles and like manga art styles, and it just smashes them in language that will just use them all interchangeably. So it's really amazing to look at, to see like characters drawn in this style or characters drawn in that style, and sometimes some characters are drawn with like oil paint on glass animation, you know, which is like something you only see in like indie or academic animation. And to see that in like a TV anime is kind of amazing. And you know, it makes me think of like what other shows have that degree of integration that Mob Psycho 100 has, you know, where the story works because the animation is there, and the animation works because the story like makes a context for it. And there's only a handful that I can think of. Like Hyolka from OreAni was one of those. Like the degree of animation craft in Hyolka was just like so high and like so refined and so beautiful that it pitched this illusion of life. Like the characters came to life and you stopped thinking of them as drawings. And it worked with the point of the show, which was to make you realize the mundane beauty of the world around you and sort of the richness of the mundane world as you explore these mysteries. And I think another show that's like that, like to a different degree, is oh damn it, what's that show? It's Death Parade. And like the drama was grotesque, it was visceral, and the animation sold it. And the show used that to form a thesis. You know, it was like as the show progressed, you started to realize that this is the grotesqueness of the drama is the point of it. That is trying to make this argument against it. That it's pitching this concept of horror of like, what if you were judged this way? Like, what if you had to be judged and you're going to be sent to heaven or hell based on this weird, like, contrived game that you have to play, and how you react in like your moment of terror is going to be the way that you are judged. Like, do you want to be judged that way? And Mob Psycho 100 actually comes from the director of Death Parade, you know, which is kind of surprising because like Death Parade it's kind of like objective and cold and long in its visual approach, but then Mob Psycho 100 is just absolutely crazy. It is chaotic. It smashes all these styles together, and yeah, it really works. Like from the outside, it doesn't sound that interesting if I were just to synopsize it. Like the characters don't seem that deep, but then when you see them in action, like they're so compelling that there is a sort of richness to it. And like much of the show revolves around the relationship between Mob, who's like this super powerful psychic boy who holds all his emotions inside, and the show sort of reveals his like counter. Like someday he's going to pop and go crazy, and is probably going to be in the next episode, which is airing tomorrow. So I can't wait for that. And it's the relationship between him and this like sham psychic who uses him for his business. But he's also kind of like this father figure to him. Like he always gives him advice, and it almost seems like from an earnest standpoint. So it really makes you wonder, like, you know, their relationship is going to fracture at some point. Like the jig is going to be up, but then it makes you wonder, like, if there's something enduring there that will survive. And Mob Psycho 100 has a lot of that depth to it, you know, because of that tight integration of like visual design and animation and like characterization and, you know, storytelling and the story itself and all that stuff. Like it's just such a we only get this type of anime. We only get to see an anime like this once every 2 years, like at best. Usually we're breaking down anime into these little pieces like, well, the story was good, but the animation was bad. Well, I liked this part of it, but I didn't like how they did that. Mob Psycho 100, like, it puts it all together, and like no part can survive without all the other parts like functioning beautifully. So it's a truly rare production. That's what I have to say about it.
As I was watching it, and the style and everything, honestly, the only thing I can really compare it to with like almost the sense of feeling for some reason was like Furikuri. Just how crazy that was in the animation and how things went together. And with Mob Psycho, although the style is very different, everything is very explosive. All their actions, all their movements, especially the detective guy, or the exorcist guy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Reagan, I think.
Yeah.
Or is that his name? Reagan? I'm calling him Reagan. Ronald Reagan. Let's actually look up what his name is.
Watching him is very fun because of how emotional, how explosive all of his actions are. and everything he's doing, his movements, his gestures. I find him as a very fun character in the show.
Yeah, he's very animated. He's a good counterpoint to Mob, who Mob is like terrifyingly powerful, but he's very quiet, like even more so than One Punch Man. The next episode, we get to see him go Psycho 100, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Really? That's the third episode, right?
Yeah, but like the people who have been reading the manga know that like, oh, this is when it's going to happen, and then I think there was like a little cut in the next episode preview where you get to see him in his Psycho form. So people are really anticipating it. I haven't read the manga, so I don't really know.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah, his name really is Reagan. Yeah, the funny thing about the list is that like our list that we made, that the top 4 things are like things that we voted. Someone voted a full 5 for, and then no one else voted for. So I suspect like everything is just going to be like a, you know. Well, yeah, go ahead. You can move on to the next thing if nobody has anything to say about Mob Psycho 100. But I think it's the best show. It's going to be the best show all year.
All right. Does anyone anyone else have anything to say or an add-on?
No.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to the next title, which is my vote.
Tell us about it.
Momokuri. Oh my god. Oh my god. So, actually, I think it's was being released as a web series, like maybe 2 shorts every week, and now they're releasing it on television with 2 episodes put together to make 1 episode.
Yeah, I think I saw some of it before.
So it's coming out now, and it says 26 episodes, but I think it's probably just going to be, the 13 with episodes 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. So, but oh my gosh, Momokuri, it cracks me up just because of the girl. So, the main character, Kurihara Yuki, falls in love with Momotsuki, and if you can see by the beginning of their names, Momo and then Kurihara, that's how you get the name of the show. But Kurihara is, I guess, an upperclassman of Momo, and she somehow sees him and falls in love and thinks that he is so cute, and he asks him out, and he agrees to it. So it seems like it's this plain, simple, pure love, all romance, all the guy's now all embarrassed and stuff. But then you find out that Kurihara is this massive stalker chick, sneaking pictures. And actually, the reason why she confessed was that when she got her 100th picture of him, privately, she decided to confess, and he actually agreed. But it's just, this girl is just so hilarious to me, and all the action she does, that I just have to keep on watching it, and it just cracks me up all the time. So that's why I'm loving this. It's always bringing me a smile on my face every time I'm watching this, and just seeing what outrageous things she'll do next, or what she finds so exciting next time, it's just great. And I honestly don't know any other way to explain this show, but it's just hilarious to me, and I'm I'm tempted to almost get the web series and watch it and catch up, but I'm probably just going to wait and sit back and just let it go as it's released. But if you want a really interesting rom-com, I think this is a pretty good one. It's kind of sad that no one else is watching it.
So is it I'm looking at the promo art for it, and there are a bunch of side characters. Like, how much does it focus on the side characters, or is it just all about the two leads?
Well, it's just recently they introduced one of the new characters that I guess she also has feelings for him, but it's more or less not like she loves him, just that she has to protect his innocence
Hmm.
and stuff, and she finds that Kurihara might be a little bit dangerous. But the others are just the two's friends, so they're just friends that hang out with them every once in a while. There's no real big focus on them too much,
Okay.
but it's mainly just how she's. Oh, well, I guess her friend is there a lot at the time, just always commenting on how creepy she is, or she needs to stop doing that. Like, she gets one of the straws from the guy, and she's like, "What are you doing with that straw?" And she's like, "Oh, nothing. I just wanted to collect it." So she's always there, trying to keep her in check and kind of also encouraging her. That's why she actually confessed that one time, was that she made a deal with her of being so sneaky and stocky. Why don't you just confess?
So is she gonna maybe blossom into a yandere? Is she that kind of obsessive?
No, she's not like that. I mean, she's crazy, but she's not like scary crazy. It's more or less like she's like a little puppy that's just got her favorite chew toy and is just so happy, so excited, and just jump. But she tries to keep it in check. Like, and it's funny because like he'll see her and he'll go hi, and then she sees him, freaks out and runs away, and she's like, "Oh my God, I wasn't ready for that. I'm so." But they're already going out and everything, but she still has all these little squeamish moments, and it's just funny to me. I don't know. It's great to me. It's my guilty pleasure this season, I probably want to say. All right. Let's go ahead and go on to the next title, which, let me see here. What do we have? Servamp? Vampires. Grrr. Is it like Diabolical Lovers?
Oh gosh, no.
Jessica, is it like Diabolic Lovers?
No,
You're
it
watching
is
these days.
not. This one's bizarre. It's I guess there are only 8 vampires in existence, and they're these servamps, which is a portmanteau of servant and vampire, and they can choose a human to be with as a partner, I guess, and then the human manifests powers that they can use to fight, but so can the vampire. It's not made very clear. So basically, anything you know about vampires and that particular mythos is completely thrown out the window and redone for this show. And the main protagonist rescues what he thought was a cat, adorable little black kitty, brings him home, and then of course finds out that he's this vampire and forms a contract with him, and suddenly other vampires want to kill him, and it's a very abrupt anime, I would say, because the scenes, there's really no transition from scene to scene, and there are multiple cuts within each scene. A lot of very close-ups, so I feel disoriented when I watch it. I don't really know where anything is in relation to the character that's on screen because we're just looking at one eye. So, I don't know. I'll probably continue to watch it just because it's a marvelous train wreck, but I don't think I'd recommend it at this point in time. The story's not really that good, and neither's the animation. It's not horrible, but it's not good either.
Okay, you wanted to talk about it the most. You had to get the word out.
I just did it because no one else had seen it, and so
Yeah.
I figure, okay, I'll take one for the team here.
So, what was it? Is it like I think the main character has this really weird quirk where it's like whatever is the simplest answer is the best answer, something like that.
I'm trying to remember. I watched the first episode a while ago, and then I just watched episode 3. He doesn't really come off like that, but the vampire, the Sir Vamp Black Kitty, basically is like a real cat and doesn't have any energy for anything except sleeping and eating. So he's always saying, "Oh, this is too much work. This is troublesome. I don't want to do this. I just want to lay here." So he's very slothful.
Just like a real cat.
Yeah, just like a real cat. But that's really all I have to say about it.
Okay. So you're going to take one for the team and watch all of it?
It's the least I can do since Sean subjected himself to 2 seasons of Diabolic Lovers.
All right. Let's go ahead and go to the next title, which, if I can find it, I want to peek. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's O. Why am I looking for G? Orange, yay.
Awesome. Now I'm up. I'm not exactly sure how it. Oh yeah, I would share the screen. In order for me to do this, I have a few things to start with, and those are the pictures we have. Now, Orange is a pretty good series. I've watched the first 3 episodes, and it progressively gets more and more interesting. However, first time when I started this off, I was thinking, I regret this. And I probably shouldn't have said that right off the bat because of the fact that it eases into something that you would want to watch. It doesn't just start off abruptly. And this is possibly one of the only ones that I can actually show the pictures of what I was watching. So as we continue, we see that the series progressively gets more and more entertaining. And we start off with the main character and her friends, who are basically just remembering the good old times that they shared. And in these good old times that they share, she remembers a few things. And this being the main character right here. Since it's only the first couple of episodes, I'm not really able to get any names just yet, except for one person named Kakeru, which you'll see very soon. And somehow, as the scenes progress, she passes by herself from the past, somehow, time, I guess, and then magically she is back as a teenager, but with no memory of her being from the future. She continues over and she's about to be late for school, and she finds an empty paper on her desk. It's blank, but somehow when she gets back from school, it's going to have a whole bunch of papers written all over it. I don't understand how that works either. Time. But as we continue, we find ourselves with Kakeru, the newest student, coming all the way from Tokyo. I don't completely know where the location is of this current school, but I believe it's somewhere south. I'm just assuming, because they were mentioning how much hotter it gets there than in Tokyo. And just like any other first student, he mentions his name. He says, "It's nice to meet you." And the teacher says, "You have to sit next to the protagonist," which sets everything into a driving motion. And as that happens, her and her friends that will be mentioned actually ask him to join their group. And later on, just a few moments, they actually begin to talk about each other and they begin to introduce themselves. And not all the friends are going to be main characters. However, in the next episode, this character who plays, I believe, the captain of the soccer team, and this character, who actually wants to play soccer, will be in the same team, but only after the character who is introduced convinces him, because Kakeru doesn't really think he has it in him to actually play in a team sport where there's winning and losing involved rather than just having fun. Another friend that I remember her name is Azu, just for short. And the reason why they remember her most of all is because her name is related to a train station line called the Azu line that comes from north to south. Continuing over, the protagonist finds herself falling more and more in love, which is only the first episode, mind you, but it's extremely subtle, very, very subtle. And when we have certain scenes and shots that show them with each other, it almost seems as if they were friends for a long time. And when Kakeru mentions that he'll trade a melon bun for a honey bun, that's when things actually get a little bit friendlier. Going over, there are about a billion pictures that I took of them actually having fun. Since this is the new guy, they want to have a great impression on him. So a magical thing happens. They get back from school, and it turns out that they actually had an early dismissal, so they use that to their greatest advantage. And then they go out and do a whole lot of crazy things. And as they're doing all these crazy things, they get to know each other just a little bit more and a little bit more. It's a good thing for me because nothing crazy happens. It's just a whole bunch of teens from school, and they're just trying to have a good time. No giant monsters trying to destroy the city, no aliens coming from another planet. It's just a bunch of friends who are having a normal day. And that's basically what I like most about these kind of shows, how close to real life they are. And that's why I like watching them. As it continues, the team actually goes over and they wind up, I wouldn't say getting too close to each other, but their day ends in a pretty old-fashioned, okay, I'll see you later, and have a great day and all of that. And after everyone is saying goodbye, trying to have a great time, our main protagonist remembers something when she gets back home. She remembers that there was a letter waiting for her, and it has something to do with Kakeru. So she gets back, and if you can all read it, it mentions on April 6th, starting everything off. I'm not going to read everything. I'm just going to have it there for you to read if you can see it. But basically, it starts off. She's writing in her diary this time. She's not exactly seeing the letter just yet. As she finishes writing the letter, in her diary, she actually looks over to the letter that's on her bed. She compares the letter to her diary, and as soon as she does that, she notices everything she just wrote is in the letter, word for word, before she even opens the letter itself, thus proving her future self really did write a letter to herself. Still trying to understand that. But as she sees this, the letter that I don't think I screenshotted, the letter says that she was supposed to do something, but she neglected to do. That caused him to disappear, as she thinks. But rather than disappearing, it turns out he just decided to skip school for 2 straight weeks. Which I'm not sure if people do that in Tokyo, if that's a Tokyo thing, but, you know.
Well,
They did.
he did that because his mother committed suicide.
He did?
Yes. Because the letter that Naho got said, you know, you guys invite Kakeru with you, but this is the one day I do not want you to take him with you. Because Kakeru can't forgive himself since he went out and had fun with his friends on the day his mother committed suicide. So he takes off 2 weeks to tend to her funeral and the grieving process and stuff, and then comes back.
Hmm. No wonder he sits alone by himself.
Yeah.
Bad. There's always that one emotional part in some show. But it further continues, and later on, the letters kind of, if you're gonna read it, the letters show that she's beginning to fall in love with Kakeru. And I guess a moment of truth happens towards the end of the episode where the main character is part of a softball team. And so, as the last batter, the last possible inning, she is chosen, and the whole team is trying to rile her up. They desperately want her to be the last batter because if she doesn't, or if someone doesn't and they lose, then it's going to speak bad about the school team, from what I believe. And they changed the pitcher towards the end of it to a far better pitcher than was playing in the middle of the game. So that just even makes the whole thing even more difficult. Just my luck is probably what she's thinking. Why me? And as we continue, the pitcher strikes her out. Well, doesn't strike her out. She gets a single strike, the first strike. And she's kind of disoriented. She didn't expect the pitcher to strike so quickly. But she recovers in half of an instant. And as soon as the pitcher goes in for her second toss, she's able to make a perfect hit, going so far as to go home run for bases that were loaded. And her friends call her the MVP, and they're able to win the game. I wasn't able to get any more pictures off of this. However, as it continues, the series goes over to kind of her wanting to transition to the next episode, waiting what is going to be her next adventure with her group. And thinking it over, I think that was it.
You know, I did see the first episode, and the premise of it and the feel of it did intrigue me a bit, but it's one of those shows where I wanted to see what everyone else said about it later on.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
It's one of the better shoujos to come out in a long time. I like it because Naho, the main character, makes mistakes. So she's getting all of these letters from her future self saying, don't do this or do this, and she chickens out at the last moment, you know. And that just seemed very realistic to me, that Naho's very shy, so it's hard for her to do the things that the letter is asking her to do, and that just makes her a very real character.
Yeah.
But it basically sticks to drama, right? And yeah, I guess I didn't get the sense that it was going to be some like crazy save the world time paradox type thing.
No, it's nothing like that. It's all about saving Kakeru.
Yeah, 'cause it seemed like he would die in the future, and then
I
but
had
also
Yes.
it's kind of funny that like the letters, like if you wanted to save someone's life, you would probably just be able to make a limited set of instructions, but instead these letters from the future to the past are like very micromanagey. Like they're like, on this day this will happen, do this instead, and they just seem to be like, it's like while you're at it, also eliminate all these smaller regrets, these daily regrets that I have. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird how specific they are, and you know, I guess part of the fun of the show would be to see like how does the main character react, seeing all these really specific instructions about what to do every day.
I have a feeling that those instructions are like that so that Naho will slowly work up the courage to take the bigger steps that are needed to save Kakeru. That's just my theory, though.
Oh, okay.
Because if she has a hard enough time getting a lunch together for him, then she's not going to be able to do the more dramatic stuff. So she's level 1 time traveler savior. She has to get up a couple more levels. Get some more experience first.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting idea. If like you need to, ch you have to like change your childhood experience to change who you are
Hmm.
or who you will become. Like that. That's a pretty deep plan for someone writing letters into the past in an attempt to change it.
So, when do you think the aliens giant mecha stuff's gonna come in?
Episode 5.
And when she sends too many D-mails. This show comes from the director of Steins Gate, appropriately enough.
Oh.
Really?
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. It like one way that you can see that is that the backgrounds are kind of like hazy and foggy, and that was also a constant
Oh,
aesthetic in Steins Gate.
that's true. And that's mostly because it was summertime during that time, right?
Yeah, I I don't know. Maybe that's just the director's thing or something, but the way I interpreted that is like it's like the present is this transitory thing, and it's always on the verge of vanishing, like if somebody changes the timeline too much. So I don't know. I thought that's sort of how I saw it in Steins Gate, like the reality like could fade into the mists of time.
Hmm.
All right,
Like
that was all.
you never know what's going to vanish in front of you. But I don't think Orange is going to be that kind of show.
But from a rating, 1 to 10, how good do you think it would be as it continues?
Mm, I don't really like to rate things until I've seen the whole thing. Because I've watched some where it starts off great, like Samurai Flamenco, and then it completely torpedoes itself about halfway through. So I'm going to hold off on rating this one until it's finished.
All right. Anyone else?
I haven't seen it yet, but
Haven't
I
seen
agree
it.
with ratings. We should wait to the end because, like, what was that? Roka? I was so excited for the end until you find out there's another imposter. I'm like, okay, this show's made me mad.
Hmm.
What would you rate it if you had a rating? Do you have a rating?
Yeah, I have a rating. It's not the best rating out there. However, starting it over, I would give it a 5.5, and then wait until it continues. I want to see what else it has to offer. And depending on what it gives, that'll either change my rating to a more positive level or an even lower level.
5.5 out of 10.
Yes. I see that as a pretty good standard, especially when something is just starting out, because it gives it time to either get better or flunk.
Well, I hope you can join us at the end of the season and tell us if it passes or fails.
All
I
right.
might
All
pick it
right.
up.
I might. Depends on my time. But let's go ahead and go on to the next one. Let's see here. 91 days. Dun dun dun.
Chun chun chun. 91 days.
To the
It's
end of the world.
it's the anime version of a gangster film. It's the gangster film has an anime TV show, and it comes from the team that did the Bakano anime and the Durarara anime. Like they used to be at Brainspace, but they actually left Brainspace and made their own studio. And this is the first original anime from that studio. So it's a pretty good thing to stake your identity on. Like 91 Days is actually pretty cool in practice. Like at the outset, like or from the outside, if I just say like, well, this is the anime version of a gangster film where you're like, okay, I've seen some of those. I've seen The Godfather, I've seen Goodfellas. I haven't seen too many of those. Those are actually the only ones I've seen. I've seen some episodes of The Sopranos back in the day, for what it's worth. But like 91 Days does have a lot of reverence for that stuff. Like already I recognized, oh, that's a scene from The Godfather that they're doing right there. Um, but like execution-wise, it's pretty good. Like I don't have any qualms about it being derivative in that sense, because you don't really see that genre in anime like done in a way that's not like wacky. Bacano did it, and Bacano is really cool, but it's definitely wacky. Um, where 91 Days is like very like serious and dire, but it works. It's actually really thrilling to watch. There's so much tension in all of its scenes, and the violence just comes like so suddenly that like when it starts going down, you're like, oh shit, I don't know who's gonna live, who's gonna die, how they're gonna get out of this. So I think it's a lot of fun. There's not much more I can say about it other than it's well made, and it achieves what it sets out to do. And it's a little bit anime-y in its interpretation of the gangster film genre, but it's not too anime-y. Like the most anime aspect of it is that it takes place in Prohibition America, but it takes place in this fictional town that has like a ridiculous name. I think it's called Lawless. The town is called Lawless, and all the architecture is Italian. So they're having it both ways. American mafia gangster movie in virtual Italy. So, but aside from that, you can take it fairly seriously, and it does work. So I actually recommend it. It's very entertaining.
So my question is, what is it about? Because like at first it looked like they were trying to sell alcohol or something weird was going on. I'm like, I've only seen the first episode, so like, what does it really look like it's trying to go towards?
It's definitely a revenge film, or a revenge story. Where the opening scene of the anime is a kid witnessing his entire family getting killed by evil gangsters. And he comes back years and years later, and he is trying to infiltrate that family, that mob family, in order to get all those people killed. So he is systematically like engineering the deaths of, he's sort of like Shar or something. He's like Shar Aznavour in that sense, that he's infiltrated this faction in order to get revenge. And there are also other mob families, so he's like trying to get them to fight, because that'll of course result in more killings and deaths. And that's his goal. But he also has he's kind of a mystery. Like you don't know how far he's gonna go for revenge, because he already got his like childhood friend involved, and you kind of don't know whether it seems like he's exploiting him, So I wonder if he's gonna die at some point, that friend of his. And also there are a lot of other side characters that they've set up, and there are the 3 mob families, and they all have their key players. But the focus is on the main character and the revenge that he's trying to engineer.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Jessica, you don't have anything to say on it? You're the only other one watching it.
I only got to see episode 1, but I really liked it. I have a soft spot for revenge films and/or stories, and characters that are neither all the way good or all the way evil, and 91 Days delivers in that respect.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next title. Wait, what was the next title?
It's Amama to Inazuma.
Yeah, I can't say that for some reason. Inazuma, I'll just call it the Inazuma Show. I don't know why I can't say that.
Ama.
Oh, never mind. I can't do that. The Izanama Show. Yay. It's a cooking show. Well, not really. But I'm actually having fun with this show. It looks like it's a single husband. The wife has recently deceased, and he has a child. Not too sure the age of the child, but she's still pretty young, maybe about 6 or 7, because she's still going to what is it, like kind of a preschool or elementary thing type. But it's him. It seems to kind of focus on the husband and his daughter and how he's trying to raise her as a single husband while going to work at a school. And then he realizes that the daughter's alone a lot, and a way they're kind of connecting is by he meets this girl named Kotori, and they decide to cook some food, and just eating a meal together, he finds out that he's able to connect with his daughter and ease her loneliness, and um, it's now become this habitual thing where they're cooking with each other and um, just having fun. That's just my quick way of explaining this show. But it's very decent. Um, just seeing the relationship between the father and daughter is really fun. Um, I'm still really curious as to what this Kotori girl is, because she has these really weird quirks, and I have no idea what to think of her, and that's almost kind of one reason I'm continuing watching is I'm trying to figure out what's her deal with this whole thing. It doesn't seem like she has any really fondness for the teacher or anything. It's just she really likes food, but she can't cook food because she's afraid of a knife. And she somehow drags this guy and has him help by cooking by using the knife and cutting stuff, and she just generally loves food. And I guess her family owns a restaurant, and her mother's been getting pretty popular, so she's not around cooking as much. So maybe this is her way of getting back into the cooking field. But it's a very good. How would I say it? A pretty good show. Almost kind of like a. I don't know. They kind of refer to it like almost like Usagi drops, where that single husband with a daughter, where he adopts his aunt or something like that. But it's very different from that. I don't agree with how they said that show is very similar. But
I mean, the premise is kind of similar until it gets to the cooking stuff. I only saw the first episode. Like, how does it differ from Usagi Drop? Like, is there more emphasis on cooking and less emphasis on the drama aspects?
yeah, I mean, like the first episode, of course, is him feeding her and realizing she's alone. Second episode is he's trying to figure out, is it all right for him to be with a student to cook? Is it going to go against his policies as a teacher since she's a student there with him?
Hmm.
And at the end, he realized it's really nothing. They're just cooking, right? It shouldn't be bad, and his daughter's enjoying it. The third episode it showed a little conflict with the daughter with something that happened at school. Then again, it's really just focusing on the cooking the food, making her happy, and it almost seems like he's crying in almost every single episode. Like, yeah, I'm so happy, everything's going good, but oh no, she's sad. It's just really weird, but they're supposed. That's the main 3 episodes so far, so I don't know how it's going to turn out as we go forward, but like Usagi Drops to me seemed like it was how he's going to raise her, how to get her in school, how to change his whole life and
Yeah.
everything. Well,
Yeah, it
this
was
one,
about how he had to make a bunch of lifestyle changes to accommodate, like, raising this kid all of a sudden.
yeah, this one doesn't really focus on that at all. I mean, granted, there's problems, but it's more or less how cooking can bring them together.
Hmm.
But it's enjoyable. It's decent. It's pretty good. Okay. Hopefully Nick can get here, I guess. So we move on to the next title, or does anyone have anything else to say? I think Jessica's the only person who's seen almost everything we're going to be talking about.
This one just isn't my cup of tea. I don't really like kids, and since this is about kids and dad stuff, it's just not anything I have any remote interest in whatsoever. So it's not a bad show, it's just not for me.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the next title then. Oh, I can't read that at all. There we go, that one's better. Fukigen na Mono no Kain? Did I say that right?
Mononoke.
Kain? Momono no Kain. So it looks like anime has gone from getting rid of really long names to making them really hard to say. At least for me. Hello, Nick. We're just going to assume you've seen everything. But let Jessica go ahead and get started.
If you can hear me, I haven't had time to test anything. I'm on like bare minimum equipment here on like some connection I'm not sure of. So if I have lag or just let me know. I've seen like everything, but I'm not like necessarily 3 episodes in. I got 2 swept away with vacation stuff. So I'm actually like in a Hilton right now in their meeting room.
Sweet.
Yeah. Because no one was using it, and it was like, I don't want to be in a room full of people, so.
Jessica, want to tell us about the show?
Sure. This one has the feels. Oh, it made me cry. In short, it's about a young man who, through various circumstances, can see Mononoke, and he bumps into this other young man who exorcises Mononoke, but the exorcist does it for the monster and not necessarily for the human's benefit. And so he hires the protagonist to help him help these yokai or monsters. And it's a little bit. Every episode so far, I've seen 3, is a self-contained story revolving around a Mononoke or a spirit, and usually their story, which is always bittersweet and sad. And yeah, my allergies have really picked up watching this one, let me just say. So I do recommend it if you like things like Natsume's Book of Friends. It's very similar to in that vein as far as the tone of the show and the feelings and emotions and the relationships between human and the spirit world. It's very good. The animations, it could be better, but it's got a great story and great characters.
I just like the bit about recommended if you're allergic to feels like myself.
Yeah.
All the more reason for me to watch it.
The first episode, especially if you've ever owned a pet or had a pet, it'll get you right here.
All right.
I remember the show now. I only saw the first episode. It was pretty decent.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, you can go.
I was going to say, I actually did check out the first episode, and while I did like it, I kind of had that feeling of there was kind of like no reestablishing the next episodic episode. Kind of like that Kin Iro, like English, Japanese anime back in the day. I just felt that like after the first episode hit, like much of the rest of the series was probably just going to be like nullified to some extent because it just wouldn't be as setting as the first episode. But I might check more into it to like go against my gut feeling there. But like I was happy with it. I just like I think I want to leave that at the first episode kind of happiness.
So does this show, because it seems like it started off with a school setting, is it going to be staying in the school setting or does it go outside of school?
It usually starts off in the school, but various hijinks ensue, and so we're teleported to the spirit realm, or we have to get someone to the spirit realm. The exorcist has a very convenient shop, which if he casts a spell, any door can open into that shop. So the characters can move around with relative ease. I think the third episode took place at a Buddhist temple, so it's not always in the school, but the second episode was in the school, and the first one was kind of split between school and the main character's house. So I'm not really sure how much of it's going to be taking place as a school story and how much is going to be the supernatural stuff.
But my thing is, I don't know why, I don't agree with the Natsume type of comparison, because while that first episode made me go, well, that scene made me kind of go, "Aw, that's sweet," or I know how that feels. Natsume is more like, I feel so sad for that guy. And I think they're going on. But, I don't know, that's just my opinion.
I think Natsume is more about wistfulness than it is about tragedy. So I guess it depends. It's a very subtle difference. I haven't seen any of the show, though, so I can't really say.
I just meant it as the basic comparison of each episode revolves around a different spirit and the human relationship with that spirit set up, I guess.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant, yeah.
I thought you meant the feels, because, man, Natsume made me cry all the time.
Oh gosh, yes, it really did.
Okay. Anyone else have anything to say about the show? Or let's go to the next title, which happens to be Real Life.
All right, who did not marathon all of Real Life?
I have not yet. I'm like up to episode 3.
I watched
Wow.
all the way up to episode 11. I think I stopped right before the last one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when this hit all at once, I was just watching it like crazy. 4th of July weekend.
Is there any reason they released it all like that? Because I've never seen that for an anime before.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's I guess it shows the gradually declining importance of the Japanese TV market, because this actually debuted as a smartphone app in Japan,
Oh.
which also released all the episodes at once. So that's why it just got dumped on Crunchyroll. It's like, here's the whole thing out today. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, at first I was like, was this released last season, but just wasn't on TV? And then all of a sudden, they're releasing it on TV.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Real Life, and if you just watch the first episode, then you will immediately get the appeal of it. A lot of anime is about like a lot of anime is about like idealized nostalgia, and it's about a return to youth, and there's like a countless number of shows that take place in a classroom every season, and Real Life takes that appeal literally, because the story is about a man in his late 20s, like mid-late 20s.
I think he was like 28 because the the thing rolled back like 10 years, 28 or 26.
Yeah, so it's about he's the target demographic of anime, and he like his career isn't going that great, and he's kind of he's sort of a shut-in, not entirely, but not by choice. It's only because like his career crashed catastrophically, and you know the reasons for that are kind of mysterious, and you will learn about it throughout the show. But he is approached by this
Sorry.
what do you call it, like a drug company, but this company that's like testing this experimental drug and treatment program. You take this drug and it makes you look like a teenager, you know, just momentarily, just temporarily, maybe for a day or two. And then the program is about will enroll you in high school and you will redo a year of high school, and that is the treatment program.
You know, I
So
thought it was a little more like crazy than that. Like the drug wasn't like so temporary. It like had a time span of a year, and like you know, just to be a little bit spoilery, with I know you've seen much more than myself, but um, one of the small irks that I've had early off is like the astronomically zany effects this pharmaceutical company has like drugs that are capable of doing, as like thus regressing someone back in age, and claims of like memory manipulation. I was like, dear God.
yeah,
How,
I
like
mean,
this is in the government's hands, right? Like this is just common stuff.
yeah, and okay, let's fly off on a tangent. I think it's actually it's an aspect of Japanese culture, and you see it a lot in other anime, just like these absurdly powerful drug companies, you know, that have like magic drugs and they do like evil sounding experiments, and you're like, what? Like how did, like none of this is plausible, but there have been a lot of like scandals involving pharmaceutical companies like doing bad things.
Have you watched all of Detective Conan? Like out of curiosity.
No, but you know,
Kidding.
just to name like two recent shows that also have that theme is Kiznaiver had it,
Yeah.
and uh, Zankyo no Terror, Terror in Resonance also had that.
Hmm.
Just like evil, like yeah. But you know, I don't know. It's just like a weird thing in anime. But I think it's also part of Japanese pop culture because the drug companies are like so powerful there. That they're like a common kind of villain. It's like, but in real life they're not really a villain. But you just have to accept you know, for the sake of anime, that there's this pharmaceutical company that has these like magic drugs, and they can make you look like a teenager, and they also have a drug that will reverse it. So there are times throughout the show when he's like, I need to look like an adult today because I need to do something in particular. And then, you know, they will process that request and then give him the reversal drug. But yeah, real life is a fun little drama. It works at its best when it's focusing on its lead, because that lead, the fact that it's about this grown-ass man going back into high school, and sort of like the first part of the show is kind of fun because it has like a lot of culture shock stuff of like, oh right, like I can't bring my fucking cigarettes to school. Like he totally does that and gets in a lot of trouble. And then, you know, and also like the change of like cell phone culture, that he's like shocked by students having cell phones out. It's like, I couldn't do that in my day, you know. He wouldn't say that literally, but he freaks out. It's like, you can really have those out? Like, don't you get in a lot of trouble? And just fun little things like that. Like there's
And then Charlie like whips one out himself moments later.
then in I think episode 2, like he goes to PE, and then he realizes like how his adult body is far less durable than a child's body. Like even though he has the appearance of a teenager, he does not have the I don't know, the fortitude of a teenager, and like immediately he starts pulling muscles and like falling over like as he's doing a sprint, and like seriously hurting himself and all that stuff. But it's kind of interesting because like what's going on around him, like he makes friends, he makes an assortment of friends at school, and there's some intrigue because some of them know about the program, and there are some good reveals there about like, oh, this person knew about it the whole time. And but he's also has to play the role of like the adult in the room, like as all this teenage drama is happening around him. Like the show is most fun when he's trying to diffuse those situations, when he's trying to figure out like, okay, how do I help this person and help that person like resolve their differences, like. So it's fun in that sense. There's a story arc sort of like mid-late involves like some volleyball girl, and that gets kind of dour because it starts to defocus him, and then you sort of realize that he's the only reason why this isn't like a typical Mario Kata style school drama. Like like when the show starts defocusing him, then it ceases to be as fun. But fortunately, the show brings him back into the picture, and then things are all good again. So on the whole, it is fun. It was especially fun because they released it in that binge watch style, just through happenstance. So it's a fun thing to blast through. Like I couldn't resist just like popping the next episode and the next episode until it's like 4 in the morning. I'm like, oh shit, need to stop watching anime and go to bed. But yeah, Real Life is cool. I recommend it. It's sad that it came and went so fast. Like in anime culture, like it just hit, everyone watched it, and then we all forgot about it. And here I am trying to remember Real Life.
I heard some chatter online about how the ending wasn't really definitive. Is that true?
Yeah. It gets you with like a big old twist, and then the credits start rolling. You're like, God damn it.
Oh.
So it's based on a web comic series, and that series is still going. There's not enough of it to produce like another season. So I don't know. Hopefully in the future they'll make more of it, but you never know with anime because you
especially with this like weird release style. Like, it kind of makes me wonder why they picked this one and then why the app released it. Like who was the company involved to just go, we're not televising this. Do it like an Android app dump.
Yeah, it makes me think that like they made this anime because they thought the anime itself would be like a nice, profitable thing. Because half the time, like anime is an advertisement for something, like it's just part of a marketing campaign for the source material, like a certain manga. But in the case of Real Life, because they sold it through a smartphone app rather than showing it late at night as a TV infomercial. It casts the impression that they made Real Life because they thought Real Life, the anime itself, would be a good thing to sell. So hopefully they make that decision again when there's more of the manga to adapt.
Yeah.
And another thing I noticed is that the animation was very consistent. It wasn't awesome or anything, but it was consistent. Like there were no amazing looking episodes put next to like shit looking episodes. It was all. And maybe that was a side effect from how this anime was, broadcast, was released on the internet, because they don't have to like work up to the deadline of each broadcast date, like weekly on television, with certain episodes falling behind other ones in the production schedule, and certain episodes taking more priority.
So if they ever do
like
if they ever do like a season 2, would you actually rather that be a televised release or just another dump binge watch?
No, I think the binge watch thing is awesome. Like, it would be cool if like all anime was released in a binge watch format. Just like every 2 weeks or something, they would just like drop a new show, and it's like, okay, now binge watch this one. Rather than it having to be this weekly thing where you're like constantly switching your attention between like this array of shows, like all throughout the week. It's like I find that kind of frustrating sometimes. Where Real Life is this continuous nonstop journey.
Especially at the start of the season, because you lose track of what you really wanted to watch with everything else. This one, I just popped in. I'm like, oh, I can go to the next. Oh, I can go to the next. I can go.
Yep.
You just keep on going until you get to that part where you're like, I'm near the end? What? It's not even halfway done, the story.
Yeah, I fell so far behind helping my parents with like a house situation, and what actually got me to episode 3 today was I was flying on an airline apart, and I was planning on watching a lot of shows, and I had the Gear VR headset on me, and it wasn't rendering soft-coded subtitles, and that was like the
Oh,
only hard render I had, so I popped 2 episodes in and got up to 3, and I would have watched more if the plane didn't land.
yep.
But that would have been bad if it didn't. So. But like I was sitting in this tiny airliner seat, this movie theater full. Like I was watching a movie theater version, which I can't remember how it released, and certain quality on shows are noticeable. Like I was watching um, that tattoo show. I think I was watching that earlier, and it had like facial color banding issues. And it's so weird because like when you're watching it on the Gear VR, like even if your source is 1080, it's effectively like splitting the screen in half and somehow rendering for each eyeball an image that you're going to be watching. So it's like I don't really know the absolute resolution, but like since you're magnifying glassing the screen as it is, it kind of forces the color a little bit, but it's nice how it does away with a lot of banding issues at the same time. So it's like it's kind of a double-edged sword, but kind of for the better.
Yeah. But yeah, regarding real life ending prematurely, it's kind of frustrating, but it's not that frustrating because the story of real life has distinct arcs, and you go through a lot of those arcs. Like I was talking about the volleyball girl one, like that is an arc that begins and ends, and then it starts going through the backstory of the main character, and that begins and ends, and then the finale of the show opens up a new arc, and then the credits roll, and you're like, God damn it, I want more of this. So it's not entirely dissatisfying because you do get some good stories within real life. It's not like an open-ended, continuous thing that just stops and like nothing is resolved.
All right. Anyone else want to add anything to real life?
Yeah, I can't wait to watch the rest of it, and like, I don't know, maybe like do an end of season discussion, even though it's already over.
Yeah, this is the end of season discussion.
All right, real life, yay. The only thing that bothered me was like I swear those pills change different colors. I don't think those pill capsules have any meaning.
We don't always put it in the same package. Whatever we have lying around, it's the drug inside that's important, not the melt away shell.
Oh yeah, speaking of things changing, there's a new ending theme or like a new ending song for every end credit. Because the premise is like that's just in his mini disc collection. Like there are a bunch of funny scenes where the high schoolers just suddenly crash at his place. Like they just arrive. It's like, hey, I'm outside right now. Let us in. It's like, oh shit. And he has to like hide all the beer and the cigarettes. and still the kids are kind of like baffled at his apartment. It's like, what's this? It's like, oh, those are mini discs. It's like I've never seen these before. You know.
From the MD players. Oh man, I remember that. Those used to be so cool.
Yeah, I think they were more popular in Japan than they were here. Like a lot of that old digital media was more popular in Japan. Like VCDs was another one.
I don't know. I just remember like when the PS Vita was coming out, like they were trying to like advertise those like UMDs or whatever they called them, like pie videos for the Vita.
Yeah,
Such a bad idea.
or the PlayStation Portable, right?
Oh yeah, well, the
Yeah.
PSP, which was like replaced by the Vita years later. It was just the more recent term I recall.
Yeah, the PSP was one with an actual disc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, let's go to the next title. Let me see, where is it? Oh, there you are. Days. Oops. No, not Servamp. Days.
Servamp Days. Servamp Days.
It's about
The
vampire
crossover.
soccer players.
I'd watch it.
So Days is it's a anime that's not about baseball. It's it's actually targeted around soccer. And here, give me a second. I want to get this character's name because I already forgot it. But there's
Yeah.
4 episodes out, so it's one of those animes that was released pretty early. And this let me see here. It's about these kids, I guess, starting their new high school life. And as before they, or right at the opening ceremonies of school, um, this boy, I can't remember his name. Jessica, do you know their names?
Tsukamoto,
Yeah, yeah,
Tsukishi, or something like that.
What he said.
I'm sorry, I know you asked you, but I knew.
yeah. So Tsukamoto is this timid boy, this boy that's really doesn't really stand out except for being maybe you want to say he's a dork or whatever. But he's approached by this gentleman that's I think his name was Jin, right? To go play soccer with him with some friends. And as he heads out there, for the first time, Tsukamoto learns about soccer and finds the joy of playing soccer with these people. Even though these people look rough looking, they're not high school students at all. He they open up to him like as another player. You know, you're a part of the team, and they see how he tries very hard to in this game. I mean, at first they're telling him, sit down, don't hurt yourself, don't worry about it. But then as he's continuing trying hard, you know, running, hitting all of his effort, they soon warm up to him and like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. And at the end, he actually somehow, by miracle, scores a goal, right?
I
And
have to say, though, that first episode was very painful to watch if you have any empathy at all. That poor kid.
yeah,
Oh my gosh. He ran straight into the goalpost and he
that
injured practically every part of his body and lost a toenail.
Nail.
Nail, yeah.
Not to cut off your explanation, but I just wanted to quickly jump in and say this is yet another one where I recognized it as a sports anime, but I gave it to the second episode because I was really hoping it wouldn't be as sports anime as most are. And it's like that first episode was so perfect. I wanted more of it, and then it just like devolved into the run-of-the-mill sports anime, and I went, no, I'm jumping ship. But I did like the first episode. It's just I didn't feel I was willing to continue with like a run-of-the-mill sports show afterwards.
yeah. So as it continues on, like he decides to join the soccer team with Jin. You find out Jin's this ace student or ace soccer player from his middle school, and they're expecting a lot from him. And you find out the school has a really good team, always making it to nationals, right? So as Tsukamoto tries to join the team, Jin tries to let him know that he doesn't have it. All these people have been playing soccer since, you know, middle school and stuff, so being a new person, you wouldn't be able to make it. But Tsukamoto toughs it up, goes through it, pushes through. He wants to join this team because he finds it fun to play with everyone. And that's his main driving force is he wants to be with everyone to have fun. And as the episodes progress, it starts off almost the same as everyone sees him being this low person. They don't agree with him. Even his teammates think that he's holding them back because they keep on getting punishments. Like, if you guys were too slow, do it again. And it's all because of Tsukamoto, right? And to the point where Tsukamoto tries to take everything to himself, and everyone realizes what he's doing, how the hard work, and they kind of band around him, and it's almost continuing as through every single episode that way as he's growing up. But of course, as he's improving himself, he still really doesn't know much about soccer, and it's just going through his life and how he's everyone, you know, just you can't do it. Why are you trying? And then they kind of inspire them by all of his hard effort that he's putting into, and they see how he's changing himself. Kind of, I guess you could almost say with any run-of-the-mill sports anime. But the biggest thing that I like about this sports anime, which it's kind of keeping me watching it, is that there's no special moves, dragon twin kick, super blah, and then,
Sadly, I would probably watch it if it did that.
for some reason when sports anime start doing stuff like that, or even if it's like a normal show, but then they start using all these weird techniques to make it weird. Like I think even that tennis one before.
I've seen it in Mahjong too.
Yeah, it just I don't know. For some reason, when they start doing that stuff, unless it can really captivate me, I tend to go, "This is just too crazy. I'll never be able to do any of those, so why watch this?" But it's really just I don't know. Tsukamoto, the fourth episode I really liked because he's inspiring even different classmates, and not just his soccer team, with his actions. And I want to see how this goes, but I have nothing bad to say about this show.
I'd have to agree with Nick, is that unless the series captures the magic of the first episode, I'm probably going to bail, but I'm going to give it a couple more episodes to figure that out. I really liked in the first episode that the kid with the blonde hair, what's his name?
Jin, I think it
Jin?
was. Cosmo?
Yeah,
That Jin was more
absolutely.
concerned that Tsukamoto had fun. His whole thing was, you're doing me a favor so that we can play this game, but I, at the same time, want you to enjoy your time and have a good time out here.
Like, didn't he have this whole complex about, like, how he must be, like, some big asshole to this guy or something, and then he was like, oh, wait, he actually didn't think that way? I don't know. That's just what I recall.
Yeah, but it's pretty fun, and it's kind of interesting because I think Jin has a very big change because of Tsukamoto, and that he finds it really fun to play with him. But that stays. It's soccer. If you want to change from baseball, you can do this.
But do they play the soccer on school days?
I don't know. He's usually just running. That's his whole thing. Run, 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 run.
No. School days, Tank. Never mind. I forget you're uncultured.
Yes, I am.
You need to give them all axes.
Let's go to the next title then. Yay! What is this?
Oh gosh.
Food.
This is a
I have
very
not watched
crappy short that you do not need to waste a single second on.
Oh, is
I
that why?
skimmed through it and went, nope.
So, alright, I am not a Fujoshi. I don't know much about Fujoshi culture or the vocabulary or anything, but the premise on this one seemed kind of funny because this is about a Fudanshi, about a guy who likes yaoi. I thought, oh, this could be really funny.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's about a guy who's straight, or so he says, who loves yaoi to
And
the
that's
point where
called a
he,
fundashi?
he likes to ship people in his mind, and he's on all these message boards and stuff, and talks to Fujoshi.
That's really questionable.
And so they're probably 3 minutes long, these episodes, and they're just 3 minutes of pain, in my opinion. Because it's a show for Fujoshi, is that if you do not know anything about yaoi, or if you don't like yaoi, none of the jokes are going to make sense. They're not really that funny. The animation's barely above what a Flash animated show should be. It's dreck, utter dreck. So, yeah, don't bother.
I don't know. You got me curious.
That's the exact opposite of what I wanted to inspire
I
here.
think Hank's finding out a new side of himself today. No,
I'm
I'm,
watching
I'm
the
this
anime right now.
Fudanshi character.
I really
That
want
is
to
what
see
I
how bad this
identify
is,
with.
though. That's the thing. I want to see how bad this is.
Hmm.
But I've never heard of that term, fundashi.
It can
I
exist,
never
can it?
had either, and that's why I thought, okay, this could be really interesting. We can switch up gender roles and that kind of thing. But no, it was not that. He's basically a chick but drawn like a guy.
So is this kind of basing it off real life, maybe information from a fundashi, or is it just something made
No,
up?
see, that's
Hmm.
what I was hoping it would be. It's just I only think it would appeal to Fujoshi.
I
It
think
doesn't. Yeah.
I'm starting to think that the reverse actually exists. You know, because there when you look at the Yuri genre, there's like Yuri for guys, and that's like Sakura Trick and whatnot. But there's also like Yuri for girls is also like there's a lot of
Maria-sama
yeah,
is
there's a
Yuri
lot of
for
stuff
girls.
there, and
Yeah.
Yurikuma.
for
Yeah.
example the girl who can dress as a prince, like that's a
Oh yeah.
stock anime character
Yeah.
that always has like the girl followers that
hmm
admire her and that sort of thing. So that's an example of that culture. So I don't know, maybe the opposite could exist. I have no idea.
I'm sure it does, but this doesn't do those people justice
Yeah.
at all.
Hmm.
I'll rewatch the first episode just so I can see
Oh boy.
what's so bad about it.
Oh,
All right,
man.
everyone, watch this. It's the anime of the season. If anything, watch this. Forget Psycho Mob.
Oh, you guys are contrary. I come on, say don't watch this, and now you're all watching it.
I'm actually gonna Google it up right now.
Yeah, I was just browsing around a Wikipedia article just to like see if this anime truly coined it, and it looks like it had some existence before the anime. Like,
Is
I
it
was
a
just wondering if it was...
coma or something?
No, I just meant like the term. I was trying to see if the Fundashi Danshi thing was coined by this anime solely, or if that like they borrowed it because it was kind of like this thing that the internet came up with and it thrived there for a while before an anime was made.
So
But I really can't tell right now. But I'm not probably gonna look into it too much.
my only other question would be: is this based off of like a high school or school setting type kid, or is it someone that's older and makes
It's
it a
high
bit
school.
creepier? Okay, because I think it'd be creepier if it was like someone in their 30s and something. Let's go to the next title. Let's see here. We got something the animation.
Yep, that's his name.
Tsukuita the animation.
Oh man.
What can you tell us about it, Adam?
Not much to be honest. I started off this series with not too many expectations, and since I wasn't able to do the same thing as Orange, all I'm gonna be able to do is talk about it, and now I feel bad. From what I'm able to gather, since I haven't even fully watched episode 1, there are two groups, and these are singer dance groups like One Direction, except better. And these guys, from what I can tell, are in the middle of a championship tournament for their teams, and these are the last two teams, and they're looking for a winner. And as it continues, it cuts to a scene where there's this girl who's sick in bed, but really wants to, I think, watch the last episode of that dance show. She actually wants to partake in some form of contest, but she can't because she's sick. So instead, she gets her younger brother to the signing instead. And as he's going there, he kind of gets patronized, and as he gets as he gets patronized, it's a bunch of girls who want to be part of this One Direction group, and they're kind of just like laughing at him because what's this guy doing at a One Direction concert? Um, he gets lost and finds himself somewhat, I think, backstage. And since he doesn't really know any of the dancers, he calls the dancers themselves Mr. Staff, each of them, because he's backstage. He thinks everyone who's there is just working as a staff member. But I don't know what to take of it so far. I haven't really done too well at trying to understand it, which is probably my fault. But I think I might like it. It's kind of weird because this would be something for a whole bunch of girls or someone who's Justin Bieber or One Direction obsessed. They would probably take this, or maybe even K-pop obsessed. But from what I think, it might be a pretty good show. Moving on, rather than 5, I'll start it off at 4 and see what it can go at that. Since I haven't even fully watched the show.
I didn't watch it either, but I did download the first episode and skim through it. It does have really nice 3D animated idol pop scenes, concert scenes. Other than that, it's not my thing. So.
Is this the one where they're all based on the months of the year? They're anthropomorphized months?
I have no idea.
I wouldn't know.
My question is, what's One Direction?
It's this show, I think, or maybe a dance group. I'm not exactly sure. I'm new to all of this. Oh, it's amazing. I just realized I did take a few pictures.
One Direction, commonly abbreviated as 1D, are an English-Irish pop boy band based in London. Okay.
Whoa. They're English-Irish? They're Londonish?
Okay, like I have teenage sisters, and that was like popular with them like a year ago. The new thing is like this band called 5 Seconds of Summer. Like One Direction is still like, no, okay if you say so. But I was much in your shoes once. I watched the second season of like a dance boy idol show, and I was lost. And I think the only reason I kept watching it was because like the main female protagonist seemed to have like cancerous lime orange eyes. I was like, it's so horrible, I have to watch. But that was like my only motivation.
Is that the OG 100%?
Yeah, like, but it was like the 2000% or whatever, because I watched season 2 and never knew of what season 1 was.
All right, here we go. Tsukiyuta. It's Six Gravity and Procelarum are 2 rival male idol groups who happen to live in the same dorm. Six Gravity is made up of young men who represent the months of December to May, while whatever the fuck members represent June to November. Following the daily lives of these 12 young men as they deal with the stresses of idolhood, school, and living together.
Wow.
And asking each other what their sign is, I guess. I don't know.
It's made by the studio of Naruto, of all places.
Of Sonic Riders. Sonic Riders?
Interesting.
Wow,
the
directors.
Yeah,
If only I was into idol shows.
Director's not new. Dude. Huh. Okay, whatever.
Maybe this is gonna be decent only for the curiosity of it. I'm not expecting any amazing things out of it.
Well, like, that seems to be a new subset of show. Like, it used to be always kind of like the high school love drama story used to like hit once a season, and now it's like the assumably female catering reverse harem-esque type idol show seems to be becoming pretty abundant.
You know, the only group of singers that I really liked that were males were those guys from Show by Rock. We didn't really like that.
Can I already talk about it short? Because I don't have the list and I don't know what was already discussed and stuff.
Oh, you need the list?
That would help.
There you go.
We already talked about everything good. Now we're just talking about things that are bad.
Not everything good. I saved some for next week. Let's do what's the next one? Regalia, the
Oh,
three.
come on. Why do I have to go again?
Yeah, the three scarce stars. Woohoo!
Not what it's called. The three sacred stars. Regalia, the three sacred stars.
Oh, sacred. I'm sorry, I read that.
I'm not gonna lie. This one, even though I did not expect anything from this at all, I expected this to be like Sword Art Online fantasy. I would expect it to be something like that from the title, and then going in, as soon as I see the wallpaper or actually the cover, it turns into something almost straight out of Gundam. And then I actually go to watch the show, and the first couple seconds of it is just a whole bunch of robot fighting chaos and destruction and buildings falling. That's the first couple seconds. And I'm basically thinking, well, I probably deserve this for not reading what it was about. But as I continue, there's this girl by the name of Rena, or I think Rena, and she's actually the older sister of what I believe is the protagonist, the Empress, who is also the younger sister. I'm trying to tie this in as best as I can, but what I was able to interpret is that Rena is some form of demon, I believe. I'm not sure. Someone help me out. And
I saw the first episode. I don't remember much about it.
All I remember about this show is there's a lot of lolly characters.
Yes.
there is.
Yeah, I think one of the characters is like an adult in a lowly body or something.
It's hard to tell though
So-
because they're all drawn so cutely. Is the Empress's staff, they could be anywhere from 35 to 12. You just don't know because of the character designs.
Yeah, that's true. Um, in one of the episodes, I think it's the first episode I'm gonna be talking about. Um, a guy is trying to fight Rena at a harbor, I believe it is, and there are some guys loading some shipments and crates of things, and he activates something, and it transforms into this geometric shape that consumes him and then tosses him up into the sky for a warp gate to activate, and then a giant Gundam, I'm gonna call it, comes out of nowhere. And
That's the
it's
generic term.
yeah, they mentioned that they were called regalia. Um, so the regalia comes out, and Rena, who I believe has the more superior regalia, refuses to fight, and when she's backed into a corner, she actually summons it, and she gets beat up because her regalia only has one arm, because one arm was torn off in one of the earlier scenes. And as it continues, she's kind of lying down, defeated, seemingly unconscious. This is going to be the end when it's only the beginning. And her younger sister, and I quote, even though I don't believe it's the younger sister, comes by and she reactivates the regalia for her. And the extra bit of strength creates a special arm made of what I believe is pure energy for some reason. They fight the man with his mecha, and it's completely destroyed, and that's the end of story for that fight. Later on, they go into what I believe is a briefing on to what happened and who was the cause of an explosion in the harbor.
Oh, isn't that the end of that episode? Like the younger sister who looks older is then revealed to be like the princess of the kingdom or something like that?
Yeah, that's that episode.
That was the most shocking part.
And one of the most unfeasible too, because you're really going to let the Empress of your country run around with no bodyguards and,
That's
just
true.
Hey,
And she lives in this like normal ass house.
Yeah. These are the character designs I was talking about. If you can see, is that this is her cabinet.
The third one
And
looks like Hillary Clinton.
so, yeah, she kind of does. But this girl, I mean, she looks like she's what, 8?
This
But
is
yeah,
a ploy to get elected through
Hillary Clinton.
I have no idea how old the two
subliminal
on the
messaging.
left are supposed to be.
Is this the same people who made Black Bullet? Because
If it is, that'd be awesome.
these little girls all look the same, I swear.
Black Bullet was epic.
Do you remember that like German commander from Schwarzmarken? She looked like Hillary Clinton.
Yes, yes, I remember her.
I've seen that show, and I don't know if I can rightly recall right away, but I believe it.
Oh, the character designs were from
she was-
the people who did Twin Tails.
She was like in the fortress that was getting attacked at the end of the show.
Yeah.
You know, she's like trying to hold the line against the alien horde. But yeah, the most noteworthy thing about Regalia, whatever, for me, is that it's a hand-drawn mecha show that doesn't come from like Sunrise or like the Gynax Trigger team or Studio Bones. Because I was having the conversation the other day with someone like before the show just aired that's like, and we were talking about like why are there so many CG mecha, and I was saying like, well, there's only so many teams that can pull it off, but somehow this show is pulling it off for what it's worth. The first episode had some nice moments, but I don't know. Otherwise, it just seemed like total trash. So I didn't watch beyond the first episode. So I don't really know how it's doing now.
The second villain looked like he was a Sailor Moon villain reject, honestly. He made very little sense within the context of the show.
Which one was that? Was it the clown?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. That was the worst. He was a clown. Oh, man, that was awful. I think the abilities that he had as a clown were actually pretty interesting. It was awesome from what I think, because he was able to poof and puff wherever he wanted, and he was able to summon a glass cage that was almost indestructible if it weren't for that super-powered energy punch that took all the girl's might. And even when he was attacked to the very end, his mecha was still able to keep going, almost suicide bombing to their other mecha. I give that mecha a thumbs up and a thumbs down because wow.
So what is this? Come for the mecha, stay for the lollies type of show?
I
Or
think
the-
it would have a pretty good story.
That's all I can remember from that show for some reason. Let's go to the next title.
Okay.
What?
I won't take all your time with this. Let's just get this over with.
Oh, Berserk. Yeah.
Berserk.
Go Gatsu. Go Puck. Yay.
Berserk is as bad as everyone says it is. And it's not just the CG animation, which is just like atrociously bad. It's unbelievably bad. But it's also everything else. It's the overall approach to the adaptation is terrible. Like the storyboarding is terrible, the dialogue's terrible, the music is terrible, and the sound design is stupid. It's just every part of this is stupid. And I want to say that it's inexplicable, but it is explicable. It comes from they got the director of Take-Q to do the adaptation of Berserk. And what's inexplicable is who came up with that plan? Like, we're going to get the director of Take-Q to make Berserk with 3D animation. Well, here you go. It's just like a top-to-bottom disaster.
I've been upset with Take-Q for how long now?
So, didn't they also change the voice actor from the movies and the series? So it's not even the same voice actor for Guts?
I don't know.
They sound too different, and it was kind of annoying me. I didn't look into it, but
So
I
did they not follow the story in the manga? I haven't read the manga, so is it
I
an issue with the source material?
I haven't read the story either, or I mean the manga either, but from talking to a couple people that have, they're saying that this anime is like blasting through that stuff at lightning speed. And some of it is somewhat justified because like not every story arc is profound. They're basically saying that like an age arc which was adapted twice. You know, there was the anime from the 90s, the TV show, and then there's the new movie trilogy, which I think is actually really good. They both adapt that story arc, but it's actually a pretty good story arc to adapt into a, you know, it has an arc to it, where everything in the manga that comes after that is more of this continuous story that doesn't have like distinct. It is harder to adapt, so they're somewhat justified in like skipping some of the things that happen in the manga. But I think to me, as like someone who's uninitiated to this part of the manga, because I haven't read it, I haven't read the manga at all. I've only seen the anime, both of the animes. Um, it just strikes me as like really rushed and haphazard, and like none of it connects, and none of it has this like emotionally resonant core to like organize everything else around. Like I really respect the movies because it did have like this central drama that they restructured a lot of the Berserk story like around that drama. Like it was it was thoughtful in that sense. Like that was a thoughtful trilogy. That was a thoughtful series of movies. And this new Berserk anime doesn't feel thoughtful at all. Like it just feels so haphazard in all of its elements. And the the general approach to it is wrong because the Teikyu guy is what you would call a Kanada school animator. And this is like someone who's like Hiroyuki Maishi, who made Gurren Lagann. You know, for example, he's like Kanada school to the max. And they tend to emphasize like they tend to hype things up. They tend to emphasize like the trashier elements of anime because you know trashy can be fun, and you know that Hiroyuki Maishi makes the case for that in you know Dead Leaves and Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill and you know all the other things he's made, Panty and Stocking. So they get one of those guys to make the adaptation of Berserk, and lo and behold, you know, it really emphasizes the trashier aspects of Berserk. You know, so it just feels like this super schlocky, like 80s shonen seinen thing that's like really bloody, violent, and like all these near rape scenes in it. And I don't know, it's unpleasant. Where the movie trilogy that came before it, like they emphasize the fantasy epic aspect of it. It was very like glamorous, and it had like lots of nice music and memorable scenes and like lots of beautiful moments. And you know the violence was like visceral and gritty. It was where this new Berserk TV show is just like stupid. It is just like in your face stupid. So I don't know. I think it's a complete disaster, and it's as bad as everyone says. The CG is bad, but it's not the CG's fault because even if you drew this adaptation by hand, it would still be really bad. And that's what I have to say about Berserk.
all right. That was
Thank God we have Mob Psycho 100 to make up for like how bad this Berserk anime is.
very interesting.
What kind of school would you consider mod?
The animator behind that is Kameda. His name is Kameda, and he's definitely a Kanada school animator. There are interviews where he's just gushing over like how much of a genius Kanada is, and you know how he's a hero to him. So he is definitely Kanada school, but like the trashy, chaotic zaniness of Mob Psycho 100 works for that story because
Right.
you know
No, I
it's like
agree. I was just saying, like, because if I was thinking about it, I wasn't there for your conversation earlier, and I was like, to me, that was an exemplary good use as well, and that's all my comment was going to be aimed at.
yeah.
All right.
Okay, we can move on.
Yeah, so everyone, if you just remember Fundashi show this season. Let's go to the next title. Sorry. I think I voted for this one, didn't I? Nejimaki Seirei Senki Tenkyo no Agrenin. I need help, Google Translator. Let me see here. Oh, that was Jessica that voted for this one, actually.
It's 21 hours.
Oh, it's that Alder.
So you enjoying the show,
Okay.
Jessica?
Yeah, I really like this one. It's the characters are pretty complex, and their interactions and the way they work together in a team is really fun to watch. And I can't wait for the next episode to see where it's going to go. Because right now they're in a military school of sorts, and it seemed like the first 2 episodes were completely divorced from that aspect. It was just them trying to survive and using their wits against this army, and now they're in school. So I hope that they get out of school soon and do more cool stuff.
So about that, actually, I wanted to remark on that because, like you said, the 3rd episode was the school setting. They're starting their training. And I'm actually happy that it seems to be going through it fast-paced. I mean, near the end of the 1st episode, it's already been over 3 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
They skipped a lot of the training. They may have mentioned a few things about tactics, but it seems to get straight to the battles where you're going to see where the individuals stand out the most and everything. And I'm really enjoying it because of that. It's not going through this whole, oh, we need to train, this is the setup. It's more or less, this is how things are going to go, and we'll probably explain it as it happens.
There aren't any info dumps, which is really refreshing.
Yeah.
You're just plopped into this world and you learn things as you go through context. And I also feel very sorry for the animators because the clothing is intricate, very intricate. You should check it out, especially what the girls are wearing. Lots of jewelry, multiple colors, ruffles, stuff like that.
Yeah. But I'm really enjoying this show too. It's actually a surprise for me when I started watching it. I didn't think much of it.
Mm-hmm.
You got the lazy, I guess you want to, the lazy hero, so-called right now, or protagonist that wants to go through life easily, but you can definitely tell that he's been through a lot of hardships, but they haven't really told us much, and we'll probably learn about that later. You got the good friend, the female girl, that you could tell they're really good friends and they know each other well, but she is very stuck for morals and principles, and even when he does something like to the so-called princess, she attacks him right off. It's like, hey, we're friends and everything, but you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. And,
I really like her.
yeah.
She's calm and collected and very smart.
Mm-hmm. And I'm really the other characters, they haven't really defined too much. It kind of seems like they're targeting that green-haired guy. I can't remember their names right now. But,
Torway is
yeah.
the green-haired guy.
So it seems that they're kind of focusing on him right now, and how Soroku is going to help him. But there's no real clear definition of where this is going, and I like that because it's something to be excited about, something to look forward to. You don't know if they're going to go to war, or if something bad's going to happen, or if they're just going to be stuck in school the whole season.
I hope not.
Yeah, I really hope not. But even though he's very lazy and very laid back, he's also very passionate about some stuff, and it's kind of interesting what sets him off.
Yeah, I did like the ingenuity of the main protagonist. I always like series about characters with lots of insight, and right off the bat, he's like making comments about like drawing conclusions from lacking information, and I was pretty much sold into the series already. Like, unless it turned out to be absolute piece of crap, but it's not going that way, luckily. So
But
I just love like those intelligent characters when they do them well. And I don't know how well he's done because I haven't seen a lot of the series yet because I'm still getting to a massive backlog here of like probably 40 shows. But well, from what I've seen so far, I was impressed. That's all I can say currently, unfortunately.
He also has a weakness for the ladies, shall we say.
yeah.
And that gets him into trouble because he's set to lead a platoon, and he happens to have slept with the mother of one of the students in the platoon. And so she does not respect him at all for that. And that's kind of the first time I've ever seen something like that brought up, where your past liaisons can come back to haunt you. And, of course, his friends are just, we don't feel sorry for you at all. You brought this on yourself.
I think the biggest thing for me that sold this was actually the end of episode 2 where he's with her sitting together and he's telling her that today was his worst day ever.
Yeah.
That sold me for this show, I think. So.
There's a lot of imagery with him and the redhead girl with their backs to each other, and they're leaning and supporting one another, and I really like that symbol of they're just very good friends.
Yeah, I think they even mentioned it that the only reason he came was actually to support her, to help her get to where she needs to be. But in the end, he ends up getting dragged along. He didn't want to. It's a really good show, and I would actually try to recommend it to people. I don't know if a lot of people would pick it up, but it is something I would like to try to recommend to people.
Do you think the first episode gives you a good taste of it, or do you have to watch further?
I
think the
say,
second episode.
Yeah, the first one's intriguing, but the second one's better.
Okay.
Because the first one just introduces who they are, and then the problem, and then the second episode's how they solve it and how they get through it. And that's when it starts becoming a little fun, because then you start learning how good they really are, and also a little bit of the hardships some of them might have.
Okay.
Well, let's see here. Nick, did you really want to talk about what's this you keep on saying? Bump me up, what?
Yeah, because, I don't know if you have the art for it, and I didn't want to put numbers into the sheet, but there is at least one thing that I want to absolutely talk about today, and I just haven't mentioned its name yet, because I think...
what is it?
Prisma Ilia?
No.
Fundashi?
Huh? No, hang on, I'm typing it.
Is it
I don't know if I spelled it right, but...
Koku Seikatsu?
Atsukoi Monster.
Oh,
don't
you? That's stupid. No.
I know. I need to talk about this. I do.
Oh my God. No.
No, it has to be said.
Okay, this is the last show for tonight, and I'm warning everyone: do not watch this show. This is
take this with a grain of salt. So when I first watched Hatsukoi Monster, it seemed like a normal kind of startup reverse harem-y thing. Girl moves to dorm. She's rich, sheltered girl, and crazy stuff happens. But when I started introducing it to some of my friends to see their response, all I told them about this show was it is weird. And they're kind of watching the first half of it going, well, where's the weirdness coming in? I'm like, it'll get there. Just wait for it. So Hatsukoi Monster really kind of grabbed my interest because I have a favorite short series that is nothing like this, but it has some similarities. Who here, raise your hands, or just verbal communication, if you've seen Recorder to Randoseru.
I have.
Yeah,
I
nothing
saw
like
the first episode.
This is nothing like that.
Right, no, it's not. Because, if you go up and you look up its genre, Hatsukoi Monster is a comedy romance school shoujo. But to me it feels mostly like a satire on the shoujo element. because using the gimmicks from Rekodo to Randoseru, you have at least three, like what, high schoolish looking guys who are elementary schoolers. And I don't know the main mechanic yet. I haven't watched too much of the series. I definitely kind of want to watch it to the end. Because to me, I want to know, do they really just look that way and is this all legit? Or is there like a source of trauma here? One of the things that I picked up on right away is, do you remember the pale blue haired like other little kid grown up dude? His name was like something Gin something, Sanomiya Ginjiro. He straight up had the voice of like Gin, like he's Gintoki from Gintama, same voice actor, same everything. His character even has the name Gin in here, and that character bleeds Gintama through too terribly much. So I kind of had that correlation, which like piqued my interest. But like watching it as a satire, this show primarily revolves around the innocent humor of using like 18 plus topics like genitalia, virginity, and stuff like that to people who should but do not understand the concepts of what they are, and making gags that go along with that. Now, I haven't seen episode 3 yet, and I've watched episode 1 and 2, and to me, it just seems, early call-off here, I don't know how this show's going to resolve, that it kind of has to jump off that gimmick soon, only because they seemingly, like, to me, exhaust a lot of the potential humor, but a lot of the humor they came up with was so off the wall that maybe they can't keep this going for another 12 episodes. But I don't know if it's going to hunker down and try to be something else. But you cannot get through like a single episode without probably like face palming or just laughing out loud at the sheer symmetries of what's like occurring in this animation.
There was no laughing from me. It was just too stupid.
It's also being simuldubbed, and I'm wondering how they're going to do it. I'm not actually going to watch the dub, but I'm really curious as to how they do the dub. Like, this is pretty obscure for Japan, like, and how are we going to have English voice actors do this show? Like, how? I kind of want to listen to at least 1 or 2 episodes, but I'm not going to. I'm like a Japanese-only watcher.
All right. If you thought Berserk was crap, this is worse than that, okay?
But dude, it's like a satire. It's not like something straight up to be taken seriously. And I mean, once I acknowledged it as such, I just kind of watched it through the sheer gimmicks they were coming up with, and I'm just kind of like wondering what the end game is supposed to be about this series. Are they going to try to do something semi-serious, or is it just going to be a gag the whole way? I'm only 2 episodes in, so I'll know by the end of the season. I'll have a more final opinion of what this series was supposed to be, but like right now I can barely wrap my head around what the first 2 episodes are depicting for the rest of the series. So it's like, since I have such a lack of like final direction of where I think this thing is going, it's like, Japan, you've come up with something that even I cannot like. I can't begin to fathom where you're going with it, so I need to know. But everyone who's actually watched it does actually kind of like it, and who doesn't like just give up on it on face value. Like if you could appreciate the humor, I think there could be a lot of enjoyment for you in this show. Just know it's weird. Just know if you don't like it, jump ship, absolutely. But the responses that I've garnered from people were sheer just random interest in the idiocy of the sheer like script that was the character speech. It's like that's what's vesting people interest in the show. It's not how stupid it is. It's what can they think of next. Because I'm already laughing. I'm already giggling. I'm already coming up with like counter script here. So yeah, it's so funny to show in front of a group of people because I've done that. And I like shows that I could do that with, and I know what kind of response is going to get. And the people aren't like so horribly appalled that they're like, I don't even want to watch another single episode of this. So, but I just wanted to give it an honest shout out rather than just not bring it up at all. So
I'd rather not bring it up.
good for you.
All right, that's the end for today. We've already got past our 2-hour mark. Thank you for all watching. Adam, thank you for joining us. It was really fun to have
Glad
you.
to be here.
Jessica, Nick,
Hmm?
a little late, but cool you still made it.
I'm probably a little bit red too. I've been out in the sun. I don't know. Like that's not a room effect. That's probably my like sunburned face.
And Sean, hopefully you don't lose power with all those lightning thunderstorms. You keep on
I think the
watching
worst is
Adam.
past.
I think you got the storm we had. Now you're too far away. We had like this huge lightning storm here too a while ago. But that's it. Don't forget to watch Banana Yan. It's a great anime.
What?
And that's it. Have fun. Until next week, we'll be talking about all the other titles we missed. And hopefully we can catch up on some other stuff. Bye, B.
Peace out.
Bye.